Later on today, Nicky Morgan, the Education Secretary, is going to announce a review of school tests for children as young as 7. Now, the review is aimed at tackling underachievement in the classroom, and one of the new proposals includes more robust testing for children before they leave primary school. So is it too much too young? We've had the SATs tests, obviously, but this is going younger than that again. Do you agree that kids should be tested at such a young age?
You know, when you read all the facts about it, I understand it from their point of view and that it is a worry that kids are leaving school illiterate. But there just seems to be, for me, so much testing, and now to make it younger as well, it's like pressure on top of pressure, not only for the pupils, in my opinion, but the teachers. You know, they spend so much time setting tests, marking tests, being nervous about whether they're up to standard, that... I don't know, it just seems, for me, it's too much too young, especially if they say it's a test to a 7-year-old.
Yeah, well, I think you shouldn't. So my thing is, I actually don't have a problem with testing. I think you have to have testing for the schools and the teachers and parents to know where the kids are at, you know, and I think children can get very easily left behind, which I think is a massive problem. But wouldn't you want to know how your children are doing, and how else can they do that apart from testing them?
Well, because surely they will know that the work that they're looking at compared, you know, little Johnny's work compared to Kira's work, if he's way in advance, or the majority of the class are, then you know she's falling behind anyway if she's struggling to keep up.
That might be quite an extreme one, so you're from the brightest kid in the class to the not so brightest kid. But, you know, the kids in the middle can sometimes be falling behind. So for me, it's just a tool for schools to know, you know, where they're pitching the lessons. And
I just think as long as the kids don't really know that they're being tested, because I think otherwise it puts on a lot of pressure on them at such a young age. I mean, at 7 years of age, to be put into a group at such an early age. I think maybe when they're later, before they start secondary school, yes, I agree with that, but I just think it's far too young at 7 to be sitting tests already.
I think it's maybe them not knowing, because I know we were talking this morning about when we did the 11 plus, and I passed the 11 plus because I went to grad school.
That was frightening.
I have no recollection of doing it.
It's one of the most frightening days of my life.
Really? See, I don't remember
really
doing
clearly.
it.
The anxiety leading up to it, the months of being told I wasn't allowed to take it because I couldn't use a pen. It destroyed the whole thing about the 11 plus made me very, very, very anxious, and also the 11 plus made your whole family. You weren't just taking it for yourself, you were taking it for the whole family. And, you know, I dreaded being told that I'd failed it, because I wasn't just failing for me, I was failing for my mum.
See, I had the opposite of that, because my sister, who's older, she took it, and we were discussing that recently. I said, I've got no recollection of taking it, no pressure. And she said, oh, yeah, I don't remember. They just used to come in and take 4 or 5 of you out of the class who'd been chosen, you know, obviously you were at a level they thought you would pass it, and taken to another class somewhere quiet to do a test. And I obviously passed, but I don't remember it. So I had the opposite to you, now, when Jack did his, I mean, good Lord, and the practice papers and the stress, like you say, on the whole family, it was unbelievable.
What I mean, that's at 11, so imagine putting the kids of 7 under that pressure.
Yeah, but the facts of the matter are that loads and loads of kids are leaving primary school illiterate. And they say now that a quarter of children are leaving primary school not able to read and write up to the basic levels. And those children, when they start at secondary school, if they start behind, they never catch up, because we have now, the fact of the matter is that about 1 in 5 children leave secondary school illiterate.
See, I think that's shocking. I don't know how you can go through a school system and come out the other end not being able to read or write.
They don't have to read and write, because they've got all this, which has got spell checker, it does everything for you. They're on computers all the time. They don't actually physically sit down. When did your kid write a letter? Or
we're not talking about writing letters, though. We're talking about getting forms, going shopping, getting through life. You have to be able to read and write. You just can't escape it, and it's so important. So how you get that message across to 7, 8, 9-year-olds, you've somehow got to tell them that if they can't read and write, they're not going to live a life that's as enjoyable. They're going to be, you know, lying and cheating. And we've all worked with people who say, oh, they don't want to admit that they can't read and write, and they're adults, and it's one of the most shaming things. And I just think that testing 7-year-olds I agree with you that it must be done in a way that's not psychologically damaging to the children, but it must be done because it's
But
an
you know what's more
emergency.
worrying to me? I mean, those stats that you said of kids leaving, 1 in 5
Yeah.
leaving secondary school illiterate,
Yes.
is that half of teachers that they surveyed said that they don't feel confident teaching literacy.
Well, I
Or
find that incredible.
And
I
so
find-
they're going, they feel that they weren't. That they
So
weren't
do you mean like a
literate.
maths teacher teaching?
Yeah, so they're saying, that whatever subject you teach, you're also supposed to be able to teach literacy. And half the teachers they talked to said that they did not feel confident or knowledgeable enough to be teaching literacy to children. So you go, well, where on earth?
Well,
If
do you
the
not
teachers
think, on
aren't
top
confident,
of
where do you
kids
go with
having
that?
tests, and let me just say that I admire every teacher, actually, because
Yeah.
it's got to be, especially nowadays, the hardest job. But I do also feel that there should be some kind of test for teachers, actually somebody in the classroom watching them teach, because the amount of times that Kira has done really well in a subject, and then, a couple of years later, the teacher's changed and she's gone from doing great to doing terrible. And I go, why? And she goes, oh, well, I just don't like the teacher, or she's really boring, or she doesn't
That's a
teach us the
fact,
same.
yeah, that's
or she
life.
has no control over... Well, no, it shouldn't be a fact of life. She's teaching our kids.